Hello guys, and welcome again to the Programmer. In this video, we're going to be continuing from where we left off, and yeah, we actually looked more on CSS and we actually played with Google Fonts and a host of other things. So if you have not watched the previous video, I want you to go and watch it before coming to this next video. So basically, in this video we're going to be having we're going to be giving our website a better look. So basically, if you see, I have an image that I've added here, a trophy image. Okay, so we're going to use it to actually give our website a better look. So if you are doubting where I got the image, you can visit on splash.com and you get the image there. You can easily just download it for free. The image is free. So now we're going to start by seeing how we can actually use, like, import our image on our page to actually see how it looks like. Okay, now to add an image on the page, there's the img tab, where this source is just like the source of the image, like, for any other HTML attribute to actually have like the source, which actually points us to where that particular resource is located. So now you have an alt attribute. Now this attribute actually tells us, like, for instance, you can fall back. Let's say it's not able to load that particular path of your image, you fall back to it. So you can give it a descriptive image, a name that actually suits the quality of your image. So let's see how that looks like. So you see our image is really large. So now we're going to style our image such that it can maybe fit our screen. So now for us to do that, we have our style of CSS. Now I'll just pick out the image tag, right? Now in CSS, the properties width and height, it can actually apply to any element. So I'm just going to see if I give it a width of 200 pixels. Remember, we used pixels in a previous video, and when we talk about absolute unit, and I talk about the absolute unit and the relative unit. For the relative unit, you use percentages or rem. So yeah, I'm still going to be using the absolute unit. So I can, let me see if I give it a height of 200 pixels and see how it looks like. So basically, you see we have it here. Okay, now for you to be able to see how it actually looks like, okay, you see, if you see our image of the trophy, right, it has some kind of border shadings, okay, which is kind of different from what we actually look. It has some radius here which can easily be changed. So now what we're going to do is, we see this border radius, right, we can make it to actually look good. Okay, the border radius, like the corners of, like, basically the image that encompasses the image. So we can give it a border radius of let's try 50 pixels and see how it looks like. So you see the image actually curves a little bit, okay, but now I think it's not really that good. I think we can give our image, like, our border radius, let's say half the width and height, which is 100, and see. Okay, for me this actually looks better. So now the next thing I want us to actually try to do is, I want us to actually align this our image to actually suit our page. Okay, now for us to do that, we know in the previous video we use text align of center. So let's try using the text align of center and actually see if it's going to center the image. Okay, text align property of center. Now you see it has not worked. You may be wondering why, because you see here this image, right, this image is in our body, okay, and now to center the image on its own, you cannot actually add like a 10 angle, because it's going to move the body from, like, we'll move the body to the top. All right, so now what we will do is, because it's included in the whole body, right, so what we'll do is we're going to move, like, the whole body, like we're going to target the body, then actually move the image to the center, because that's the better way to do it. Okay, we can now target the body of this our page. So since our image is immediately after the body, what we'll do is we're going to target the body, which is a style the body element. Now from the body element, let's see if we can give it a text align property of center and C. So now it has actually centered the whole of our page. Like if you see now from like the whole page is actually centered from top to bottom. Let's close our developer tools and sync. So now this is what we actually have, that's what actually looks like. Okay, so now that we have that, we'll try to see if we can actually style our overall page, like the whole this landing page that we have, and maybe give it a particular background. Let's say like I'll actually give the whole body a particular background. So now let's see if we can give, like, for to add the background, you can use the background property. I'll just use RGB color of 233. Let's say 215207. Sorry, 233 215 and let's say 207, and let's see how it looks like. So basically we'll have this. Okay, I mentioned of open color in one of our previous video before this. Like you can actually choose a particular variety of color that you want to use, and you use the hex code to actually structure your web page. So I think basically I'll just go with this. Okay, now you can see basically here our element, like this our image element, and this does not really have like a good spacing. So I want us like our body to have like a really good spacing that will actually look appealing to the user. So now we're going to talk about the margin. That's what called about the margin and padding. So now we'll add more like a spacing around the element. So for us to add spacing around this element, we're going to use the margin property. So within our body, what we'll have, let's see, we'll have the margin of top, bottom, left, and right. I'll just give it of 50 pixels. Okay. So now I think this looks better. So our margin top, bottom, left, and right actually gives the page like a good feeling. Okay, so now this is a basic restaurant website. Okay, I think we're actually going to change this, like let's see, since this is the owner of this restaurant, you want to, let's say maybe you want to learn how to cook. All right, so now we're going to add a second HTML file such that people can click and maybe check like a list of recipes. All right, so what we can do is you can add oh sorry, that's an issue. I'm just going to rename this. All right, let's just say fullmeal.html. all right, so now web will actually learn how to prepare like a full meal. So basically on the index, I'll just see I would love to learn how to cook. Okay, let's see how that looks like. Okay, where they can actually click and navigate the user to the second page where the user can actually learn how to cook. Okay, so on our new page, all right, talking about abbreviation, just use the abbreviation. Let's say learn how to cook. All right, we just have that. Okay, where okay, now within the body, let's just give it an how to cook here. Okay, now I want us to link this to like maybe our second page. So now how can we do that? Okay, because we learned the A tag. All right, now we want the A tag to be, once you click here, it should take you to the next page. Okay, so within our reference element, you see here Once it's clicked, it takes us to this. So now I want us to link this to our new file that we created, which is called fullmail.html. Okay, so we can say fullmail.html, and let's see how that looks like. You see, it takes us to our second page. Like, it opens a new page which actually takes the user there to actually cook. So now I want you to ponder on this. At this point, I would like you to actually pause the video. You recreate what you actually see here. You should have a main title that maybe that links to the HTML, your new HTML file. Add like a couple of paragraph or text with the recipes that you would like to cook. Make sure you use the Oswald font that we used in the previous video, and for your H1, and then the paragraph you use your the Figure Sans fonts and the Oswald fonts that you use, and you should have a fallback. Okay, so you should use that to actually prepare. Then now you can continue with this video. All right, so provided you have done that, what we'll do here is we're just going to apply the same thing. Like, we'll do the same thing such that we are going to master our CSS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another CSS file. So from there we'll actually exercise what we have been doing so far. So we have our full our learn how to cook here. For a paragraph, I can just say, here you have the best of recipes to cook delicious meals. Okay, so now, like here, okay, for this, right, if you want this to actually get like the stylings of the main index, right, what you should do is you can actually link all to the same styling for the same style to apply. But now we're not going to do that. We're going to create a new style for this. Okay, now let's give it full mail, let's see, .css. You can call it any way you want. Okay, now within our full mail.css, we want our paragraph to have all right, before that, let's use like to view like the today's recipes. I want it to take us back to our main page. So what we'll do, can just do index.html. Okay, let's see, view today's dishes. Okay, such that if a user comes here, you can redirect the user back to this. And yeah, so now within this, I want us to actually center all our content from this page. Okay, so to actually see if I've actually understood the concept of CSS. So if you could not do it in the challenge, you can just follow up with me now. All right, so the first thing for us to actually center all our content, all right, we'll have to first of all link CSS. Okay, now our CSS for this is full mail .css. Okay, within our full mail we want the first thing, we want our main title to have the Oswald font, which this is our main title, H1. So go within our full mail, we'll have A1. So want our main title to have the font family of Oswald. Now we cannot do this unless we visit our Google Fonts and we copy this, go within our full mail and we do this. All right, so let's see what we have. Okay, now, and our paragraph should have a fallback of sans serif. Now our paragraph should have font family of, what's our second font family that we actually have? Okay, let's check Fira. Okay, Fira Sand. Fira Sand. Then fallback plus series. So that actually looks good, and our whole body we can decide to give it any background color. Of, I'll just choose anything and let's see how this blue violet looks. Oh, this blue violet is really sharp, so I'll just choose any, let's say, light variation and say this. Okay, let's just leave it as that. And now the next thing I want us to do is to be able to center all our contents. What we'll do is text align center. So basically we have like layout to cookie, and you can route us back to our original page, and basically that. So now we can also, here we can actually list our goals. Okay, we can list our goals of what we want to cook. Okay, so basically you can just add paragraph. Let's say today I will cook stew. Maybe add another one. You can say I want to boil rice. Maybe you can add another and say I wish to be a very good cook and open a large restaurant. Okay, so maybe you can have this as your listing or something basically like that. So now another thing is missing. If you discover on this thing, we have this, when we hover we have that. So now I want us to do same for our links. Okay, now I have our A here. All right, so now I want us to use our A tag. We have use a text decoration of none. All right, so now it has no text decoration, and now I want us to use the pseudo selectors that we have learned. Sorry, upon hover you get to a text decoration of underline. So once you hover, it underlines. So aside that, this is basically what you had to do in the challenge. So one other thing I want us to do is more of if you notice things are duplicated, but before that, you see within our index.html we have our body, we have our image, we have our h1. So I want you to have things in a very, very semantic approach, like a very, very good structure. So now within our style of CSS, you have the body, then the image. So I want us to remove this and put it at the top. So if another person is working on this file, the person will easily locate. We have our body. Nextly, we have our image. All right, so I'm going to move our image here and put it here. Okay, so you should actually follow this particular good structure. Now there's another thing I want you to understand. There's what they call, like, I want us to have like shared CSS file. Okay, now for the shared CSS file, it's more like we have like duplicated things. Okay, where you have like stylings that are duplicated from one page to another. I see it's actually repetitive. So now what I can do is I can just create like a shared or CSS file where you actually put the styles that are in common. So it's up to you, but it's a very, very good approach. Okay, so I have I can call it share.css. So now if we check closely, we'll have to include our share.css before our main styling, such that once a page loads, okay, it's going to load the share CSS, then the style.css. So I'll link it to share.css. Okay, now within the share of CSS, we're going to look at what is actually common. Okay, we have two other CSS files. We have this full me.css and we have style.css. Now, within this full me.css, another thing we have to add the share.css here. Link share.css. Now, what we have to compare, okay, we see within our styles, okay, we have there's a body which has text align and basically that, and also within our format on CSS our body has text align of center and all that. So within our style the CSS, firstly we have to remove this duplicated thing, because actually here the body actually centers the whole page. That's duplicated. We have to remove this. Okay, now our shadow CSS, we can move this body. Let's see this. Can cut this body and put it within here, but now the margin does not actually work for all of them. It works only for the index. So now our index here, we have a style.css. So within our style.css, we're going to bring back our body here, but now sorry, we'll bring back our body here, and now we'll leave the margin. Okay, and since it's already present in our share.css text and background color, here in our full.css, here we want to have another background color. So basically I just want us to have the same background color everywhere. Okay, share.css will have this background color, so I want our style.css to have this background, our full.css to have this background color. So I'm going to remove this, and now our text align center on our share.css is present, so our full.css will get rid of this. Okay, now secondly, our style.css, right, we want the h1, the p, a tag, all of it should use the same property. So I'm going to cut this and paste it within our share.css. Okay, so within our full.css, our h1 paragraph and this already has that. So basically our full.css will not have anything. Sorry, our full.css will not have anything, so we're going to remove this completely. So with that, let's see what our output looks like. So basically our output actually takes the background color of this our landing page, and actually the colors are not really good, but we are going to change it in the upcoming video. So let's see if our main content, since it's the ID, is going to be specific for this, and the image of our full.css would actually have any image. So basically we can leave this here, and aside that, that's it. So the last thing I want to show you in this video, okay, is how we actually organize our structure. Now you see we have so many files. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a folder. I can call it images, and I can create another folder, sorry, which I want them to be out on its own. I'll create another folder, I'll call it styles. Okay, now you discover that these images and folders, when we're going to move these things within their respective folders, the path is going to change. So now for our styles, I'll move this here. Yes, I'm going to move our share.css within our styles. Okay, again we have our images, we have just one image. Okay, and now we have full.html, we have another style here. Okay, so now you see within our styles we have full.css, which is nothing, which we'll use that in the upcoming videos. You have share.css, you have style.css. Here, this is the ID, we cannot change it. So now we have that. For us to be able to, if we check, see basically it has given us the alt, this alt attribute that was written as the alternative if the image fails to load. So now for us to get back our things to display, we're going to go within our HTML. Okay, now since we have created a new folder, it actually goes like a step behind for it to actually show. All right, so now if you take care closely, we have our share.css. Okay, now for us to do that, we can use this dot slash, which actually takes us to our styles folder. Then now load the share.css. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for the full .css, even though we have no styling present in it. So we have our styles and we have full.css. So now let's see how our full.css page looks like. So now we get our colors here. Now let's do the same thing for our index and our image. Okay, so now within our index.html, what we have here is we see our trophy. Our trophy is not loading because the path has been changed, so we have dot slash. It takes us to the images and then gets the trophy. Let's see how that looks like. Okay, now our image has loaded, but the styles has not been applied, so that's why it's really large. So now for the styles to be applied for this particular page, we come here again within our share.css and we have the dot slash again, go to styles, go to share.css, and we do the same thing for original styles.css. Go to dot slash, go to styles and go to style.css. So now let's see how this page looks like. So it has gone back to normal. Okay, so basically that's how you actually organize files and folders when working with HTML and CSS. Now you discover this is actually okay because it is in the root. All right, so basically that's what I wanted to show you guys in this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye for now.